Welcome to the end of the world. Not yet. Not yet. Welcome to Platos Cave on WZZR. Coming to you from Australia, the land down under, for Revolution Radio and Revolution.radio. That's right. It's home to fresh, relatively uncensored ideas and conversations in the chat room. And you should be there now because Dave and I are there. Come on in, I say. And if you're listening to this canned, try to make it live. Come into the chat room. Pretty fun. It actually is pretty fun. Just saying. It's the truth. Mace is there. Hey, Mace. Great to see you. Oakley Dokley. Today is the 31st of August, 2023, which means it's the end of winter in Australia. We just had a super moon, a super blue moon. That's right. And we had the worst storm ever to hit that particular part of the United States. Ever. At least in that part of the United States. Now, important public announcement. This is listener-funded radio, which means you need to support it if you can, because no one else is. No government, no corporation, no NGO, nobody, except for you. So if you like what you hear or see, in some cases, then please donate if you can. And if you can't, that's okay too. You know why? Because tough. It is tough. Things are tough all over. And they're tough all over for everybody. And I have some bad news for you. They're going to get tougher. Mm-hmm. Things are going to get tougher. Economically speaking, we are just at the beginning. So, if you can't donate, that's okay. Just tell people about it. Maybe some of them can donate. And then, on and on it goes. You can catch the cave on air, on the line, and onto your smart device. So grab it up to listen anywhere or listen at home on Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. Right. Even better, another reason to donate is that the archives are free. You can go into the archives, listen to whatever you like, for as long as you like, download it, whatever you want. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it now. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcasted from Dave.
It's the Darkajung.
Sure, and for myself, of course, the Rock people. And we would like to pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. Thank you. It is looking grim, economically speaking, everybody. This whole reset thing, the more I think about it, I'll tell you what.
What?
The more I think about it, the more I think that people will say, yes.
Damn straight, because it fixes everything.
Yes. Save me. Please save me, Mr. Anyone? Mr. Almost sounds like a Nazi. Please save me. Please.
Save me from your problem. No.
Save
me from the problem you created. That's what I want.
Yes, because that's where we are. And well, think about it this way, right? Let's say you're a regular Joe like Dave and I, right? We're not rich, we're not poor, we're just regular Joes. Having family, trying to live as best as we can, do our thing, and you lose your job. It's your job, right? Maybe you're lucky, you don't have a mortgage. That's good. Maybe you're paying it off. That's great. You still have to pay for stuff. You don't buy food.
Mm-hmm.
You pay for electricity and water and gas and whatnot. So money has to come from somewhere. But hey, maybe you're lucky. Maybe you have savings. Great. Live off your savings. And maybe you can pick up something else again, another job, pays less. Who knows, right? That's all goodness. But there's a bucket load of people that cannot do that and will not be able to do that. And in fact, can't do it today. And we see that more and more. Every time I go into the city, Sydney that is, I see more and more people in the street.
Living rough, yeah.
I do. It's a thing, all right? And again, there are worse places to be than Australia, because it's actually, here you can. It's not, I don't wish it on anyone, but it's I guess, it's an existence, right? But it's going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher and tougher. And of course, if you're in that position and someone comes along and says, hey, Dave, you got a couple of kids there, you got a wife, right? Things aren't going so good. don't really know if you can pay for any of this. Why don't you just give all your stuff up? Just give it up. Here's a house. In fact, don't worry about giving up your stuff. I'll tell you what, you just move into this flat over here, 3 better. Very nice. Close to transport, right on top of it. In fact, the supermarket is downstairs, and we'll give you, I don't know, that's good, $2,000 a month. Don't worry about your bills. That's all taken care of. It's a communal living thing. And all you have to do is, we'll assign you a work, a detail or whatever. Or not. You can just live there. It's just, all your worries are over. Except when you die, you can't leave anything to anyone. The state just takes it all.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what? If you remember, strike that. If you cast your mind back, and you might have learned about it in school, etc., the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s, in the world, but especially in the States, in America, the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, all those wonderful things. People were in bread lines, like food. And we're getting there again. People need help. Even people, Dave, with jobs need help with food. Why?
Yeah, they do.
Because everything is so expensive. Oh, that's cold, man. He had another thing.
He did. He had another one.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know, Mecky and I can talk to each other during the show, and I just said
we have telepathy.
But that's what we do. But Mitch McConnell can't remember, and that's what I said. That's what Mecky's responding to.
So, yeah, he had another moment where he froze. This is the second time he's frozen.
I think this was 90 seconds this time.
I mean, that's an age in media. That's like an epoch. It's like the time of the dinosaurs, all of it.
You've already upgraded all your telecommunications equipment in that 90 seconds.
That's exactly right. And not to digress, but this actually sort of ties into it. In fact, when you get to a certain age, you're no longer allowed to drive unless you take a test. Or you're not allowed to perform. Sorry? Annually, correct.
Or you can determine that you would only need to travel a certain amount of kilometers from your house, and you can have that set in there, and you can't go against that rule.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, this is for your own safety and others, of course, depending on how fit you are. But he's not fit. But we have these people in power, octogenarians, and they really are 80 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, no offense, but Donald Trump is not far behind, right? Mm-hmm. And these old people, especially, I mean, America still is the most powerful nation on the planet. Make no bones about it. And the people that have their finger on the literal button of the nuclear Armageddon are both feet are firmly in the grave. This is not one foot in the grave. Both feet are in the grave.
They're waiting.
And they're just waiting for the grave diggers to shovel them, cover them with dirt, right?
They're waiting in their graves.
That's what's happening. But look, again, it's those people, including, what's his name? The reset guy. He's
Klaus
like 70 or 80 years old, right? Schwab, that's it. He's that, and again, it is those folk that make decisions about our future. Oh, look, I'm in my 50s. Dave's in his 50s. My kids, of course, are younger. Dave's kids are younger, right? And am I worried about myself? I'll be honest with you. Not really.
Not as much.
Not really. Whatever. I mean, look, whatever comes my way comes my way. I mean, I had a good life. I had a pretty eventful life. I took risks, and I'm surprised I'm still standing. But the point is, I'm good. Right? There's very little you can do to me that would bother me at this stage and that I couldn't get out of, right? But I am worried about the future of our children, Dave. I mean, I look at your daughters, I look at my daughters, my son, other kids. I mean, today was a Father's Day afternoon tea in my son's daycare center. And I look at all those kids eating cupcakes and some watermelon, whatever they had. And I'm thinking, you have no idea what's out there for you. I mean, I mean, and I was thinking, great. How lucky are they to be blissfully unaware of the world at large. It's a wonderful state to be in. It's a wonderful time of life. But I am worried because when they're my age, which will be in about 40, 45 years, what will the world look like, Dave? I don't know. Look at this hurricane Idalia.
Again. Right? Yeah. The hurricane hit Florida. It's nuts.
They have never had a storm like this before, apparently.
How many meters of storm surge was there? It was crazy.
It was nuts. It was it made landfall 200 kilometer winds, 125 miles an hour winds.
Yeah.
Hit us here, right? There's still 440,000 people without power. My goodness. It doesn't say what the storm surge was, though. But I look at it.
I saw footage.
I look at it. I see the houses, at least 2 meters, man. 9 foot. Sorry, 9 foot. 3 meters.
Yes, at least 3 meters.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
I mean, fire, flood, and pestilence.
I like the pestilence.
We're having them all.
Yeah.
No, we what would you call SARS-CoV-2 too?
Yeah, I know, right? So Mickey, in the very first phrase you said on tonight's show, which I've got to comment on. I forgot to comment, but I wanted to comment on it, and it was the end of the world. And my comment was, and I got such a great seat at the cafe. You know what I mean? And then you said it wasn't. It's like, oh,
come on, man. Make up your mind.
It either is or it isn't. And if it's not the right day, then I've just, wow. Do you know how long you had to wait for the booking? It's just crazy. See, my end of the world card, Becky, I got a, those loyalty cards. It's almost all punched out.
Almost.
Got one to go. I thought it was September, to be honest with you.
Well, you live and you learn, right?
Yeah.
That's gold.
So I had to say that. Oh, and one of our esteemed listeners, and if he's out there, get well. We're all thinking of you.
Yes. Absolutely. Look, we are. Look, it's not the end of the world. It's never. You don't destroy anything. You don't finish it off. It doesn't. The world doesn't actually work that way. Okay. What is happening though is that there are signs now, definitely that point toward a massive shift. Right, and I'm not talking about the Great Reset per se at all. I'm talking about things like, the economic change, the climate change, the change of how we live our lives, and it's upon us. That change is firmly upon us. There's no doubt about it in my mind whatsoever. Yeah. We are now at the nexus point, and that's why I said I don't know what my kids are going to do. I'll do the best I can to prepare them, to make sure they're okay, but I really don't know. I don't know. It's up to Providence, I guess, to some extent. You just don't know.
I did that thing again, Mackie, today, where I stared into the pantry and the fridge, just going, I'm going to miss all this stuff. I know. Right? It's as whatever happens is getting closer, which still hasn't been understood yet. I'm getting more of those moments.
And the thing is this, our system is very fragile.
Yeah, we saw that through COVID.
Yeah.
We saw that when the fuel went up.
Fragile. Yeah. Yes. 100%. It's a fragile system. And things can go badly very quickly. Mm-hmm. Very, very quickly indeed, right? So it's good to prepare, to be a prepper. That's not a bad thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you that it's a bad thing, because it isn't. Right? But I don't know what else to say, Dave. But people need to really take note, take heed. Take heed of what's going on.
Well, we just did
Because it is happening.
We just dried another, I don't know, 2 kilos of apples.
Oh, did you? Good man.
Yeah, intentionally.
Yeah, no.
I had to put that out there for comedic purposes.
Oh, they just dried, man. I don't know what happened. What?
So did that, and I went to see my doctor the other day, and I've got, I think is it 120 over 78 is my
Right.
is my blood readings, right? My blood pressure
Right.
readings.
Okay.
And he just looks at me and goes, I don't even know how you do it. How do you do that? I shouldn't have that kind of goodness. But, I like to be the guy who grows teeth in his lungs and has good blood pressure. That's what I like. I like that about me. I've gone truly mad. So, yeah, I had to bring up that Mitch McConnell thing because, yes, deer in headlights yet again shouldn't be driving a motor vehicle, should not be running for any office. No. Should not.
No.
What?
100% no.
Surely, absolutely surely, there should be some rule that says, okay, you need a certain amount of life experience to be someone who can lead a nation, but not that much, right?
Not that much.
Maybe you need someone who's still fit. I'm being very, very careful to find the right words, but maybe fit enough and mentally agile still.
Yeah.
To be able to do it. I think there should be a test.
Honestly, it's not too much to ask for,
is it? Should be like a TV show test, Mackie.
Yeah.
It's public. And imagine if just imagine if there was a TV show where they did test candidates publicly, live, right? Without earpieces, without there being an auto cue. For responses, and that the winner was the winner. There was no voting. Like if you succeeded and you were the best and the most agile, and the most mentally balanced. Remember that? Was it? Oh, it's like an ABCD kind of test where you're tested on whether you're a complete narcissist, right, or you're a doormat. Test, that one, the social profile.
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
It's like you're letting me hang myself here. What's it called again?
You mean a psychometric test?
That's the one. Yeah, they should do that, and you can only do it if you're in the middle, and you can't be coached, right, or whatever. I don't know. Just how could you make it fair?
Honestly,
AI. Make AI.
No. Well, yeah, look, that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, no, what we need to do is, I think we need to have tests like this. I really do. But it's like with anything in life, right? When you get to a certain stage, then you just have to retire. But do you know what I mean?
Did the Aztecs have it right? Where the person was leader for a year and then sacrificed?
To the gods!
I don't know.
Maybe they did.
Do you know all the people making at the moment I've been seeing on in the world news that I watch? There's a consensus of voices currently out there saying that a council-style government is no way to run a country. Never gets anything done.
Oh, that's cool.
So hang on. So you're going to say you're going to get things done? No, I'm not saying that.
Don't twist my words.
You're twisting my words. Yeah, don't. So they're fighting to maintain democracy is what I see. And the democratically elected, well, farcically elected, I think is the best way to describe it. So there's so many checks and balances in the American system that you don't actually vote for the person that you want. You don't, not directly.
No, it's the whole collegiate system is
That's
just
right. It's indirect.
honestly, it's completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
And they laugh at us in Australia with our stupid system. Each system has its warehouse full of votes, if you understand what I'm saying. But in our one, it's not presidential; it's party political. You vote for a party, and they can elect their own leader. Well, they usually do it before the election, but then there's always spills. You can always have a spill. But then because that's always fun, right? We have a last point, Mackie, I'll make. They have they've put rules in on only one side of politics that says it's the members of the party who are that can be you and me if we wanted to be the member of a party. You're paying member. Like member of a club, and you decide who the leader's going to be, and they don't have a backstabbing closed door fest, where only the winner takes all. Only one party did that; the others didn't. And hey, remember those jokes, Becky, when we were coming into was it COVID? It's only so many prime ministers until Christmas.
Well, yeah,
because we were going through them rotating through so rapidly, but they were all backstopping each other.
Yeah.
So, they're all salespeople got there on one way or another who will sell their family to make an extra $1.
Essentially, that's unfortunately absolutely correct. That is exactly what it is.
And if you're a wide-eyed rookie that goes in for the first time with all these dreams to change things and then get there and you find out you can't do anything.
The wide-eyed rookie. That's so me.
So I had to say that because of the Mitch McConnell thing. I could not help it. Had to be said. And look, Mackie and I'll tell you one thing. Mackie, you may agree with me. I hope you do. That we don't actually care who leads the US. We just wish that you make the right choices.
Well,
and that you don't abandon your ability to vote. Someone else to do it, right? It's all good. What do I care? It's not worth anything anyway. Well, they're all lies. Get in there and do it. Make it happen. But, Mackie, if I had to bet $1 with you right now, do you think the America will be in lockdown and they'll be doing postal votes all over again for the next election? Because I'd put $1.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I would not say, never going to happen, because I'd be a fool to do that.
Oh, no. How about trading places? I'll buy you a coffee.
No, it was for $1.
It was $1. Okay.
Nickel. I think it was for nickel. No, seriously, I think it was a nickel somewhere. Yeah. That's like big spenders, those guys. Was it Ronald? Not Ronald. I can't remember.
Oh no.
But yeah, no. This is it's a thing. It's a thing. We may very well. I mean, look. Ultimately, this is the problem, right? We don't know if anything is rigged or not.
That's right.
We don't know. How would you know? Can't know. Why can't you know? Because you as the voter, specifically you, right? You never see anything. You know what I mean? You never see any ballot boxes. You don't count it. People count it on your behalf. Sure enough, right? I mean, that happens. But do you trust them? I don't know. Should you trust them? I don't know. Look, it's a really tough call, because how deep is the rot? And in fact, it doesn't even have to be deep, because you just compartmentalize it and you just tell people what they need to know in order to further your agenda. People don't have to be in on it. They just have to do what you tell them to do. That's enough. It's enough to be. In fact, it's even enough to just be quietly agreeing with it. That's plenty. Thank you very much. We don't need to, We don't need to do anything. Just sit there quietly. Don't say anything. For goodness sake, just go along with it. Just go along. It's like in the Seinfeld sketch.
First,
Jerry goes
lawyers,
to.
Mackie.
Yeah, well, that's we can talk about that in a second. But Jerry said, George talks to Jerry. Goes, oh, come on, Jerry, come along here to go somewhere. Be the come along guy. Oh, come on, be the come along guy, right? and Jerry goes to George. Yeah, you would have fit right in 1938. Just come along, step along, right. Come on, step right up. Come on, what you doing? Right? No, buddy. No, not good. That's not what you do. That's not what should happen. It's not a good thing. But nonetheless, that's pretty much what we can expect of people, right? It's just or just go along with it. Because again, I come back to it. If you were walking in the street and you saw a cop pull over an elderly lady, right? Mm-hmm. And then now I'm going to make it extreme here. I'm going to make it extreme to make a point. What if they started beating on her? What would you do?
Well, I certainly wouldn't stop it. I'd just drive on by, Mickey.
No, you wouldn't stop it. Of course you wouldn't. And no. That's not necessarily a terrible reflection on you as a human being. It's just, but you have to. It's the police.
Well, if they're doing it to her, right? What are they going to do to me?
Well, exactly. What would they do? What wouldn't they do to you, my friend? What wouldn't they do to you?
As long as it's not.
And that's really that's where we are, though, right? And the thing is this, though. 100 years ago, that's almost unthinkable. Because people would have stood up. Hey, what are you doing? That's not. You shouldn't do this. Why are you doing? What are you doing to this poor woman? Yeah, 100 years or so. Now, no, it's just not a thing anymore. It's just we're no longer those people. We're no longer those people, and shame on us, I guess, for letting it get that far. But it's a real question. What would you do? Would you stop it? Could you stop it? And again, I go back to my example of George Floyd. I know I do this a lot, but if people had stopped what was going on with George Floyd, right, there would be no George Floyd movement, no Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're the person that stopped it, you'd not be in jail. Very simple.
And if it wasn't filmed,
why,
Mickey? If it wasn't filmed, that police officer would not have been charged with anything.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. So we have to understand what it is we're dealing with here. It's not cowardice, but the system has gotten so far out of hand that it's, in my opinion, virtually impossible to stand against it unless we all stand against it. And we all stand up at the same time.
That's right.
That's just my opinion.
But why does a nation need militarized police?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Think about that. I mean, have you seen the police equipment? Even in Australia, I look at some of the squad cars. They look like armor-plated personnel carriers in a war zone. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
Ooh, what do you think is going to happen? Because you have to always ask, because when people prepare for what they think is coming, right? Especially police forces. What do they think is coming? Oh, wait, I mean, what do you think will happen that you need that? And bear in mind, the police force is there only for one reason. In the world. And it's not to protect you. Okay? It's not. It's to make sure that you obey the law.
That's right.
You obey the law. It is to protect the top echelons, parasites. We call them top echelons, but they're actually parasites. That's the purpose of the police. Nothing else. No other reason for the police to exist. That's what they do. That's their thing. And anywhere in the world. Because if you're rich, you can establish it very quickly. If you're rich, then the laws don't really apply to you. Right? Would we say that's a true statement? I think it is. Right?
We saw that in COVID. Great examples.
We did. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Right? It was plain as the nose in my face. Absolutely. It's a thing. 100%, my friend. So,
I'm sure,
what's
Meki,
been
if there was one of those police artists and they said, well, if you could describe Meki, and I said, oh, plain nose, I don't think so. I don't think so. But you're right. So I know it as being obvious, yes. So in Australia, with the eastern suburbs, the more wealthy or affluent suburbs, they could get around masks, not really, outdoors, jogging. You can jog without a mask for some reason, and you could hang out in the beach in the sun, and really the police were very thin on the ground, didn't really care. But then you go to a place that had COVID and they were locked down. This is in the tradies. If you don't know who a tradesperson, we call them tradies here. They usually drive a ute with tools on the back, right? Or your frontline service people. Those people were locked in their apartments, weren't even allowed to receive food.
Now think about that just for a second. And you go, what?
It's an us and them.
How is that even conceivable? How is that a thing where you go, that's normal? That's a normal thing that's happening, right? No, it really is. It's not a normal thing. Not a normal thing.
Yeah, look, it was repulsive to watch. It really hurt. It hurt my ideals of where we live, Becky, and what I thought was.
But it also opened your eyes.
Yeah, right? It did. It did. I was conflicted because I'd grown up, with a police officer father. If you did nothing wrong, they stayed pretty much away from you. That was the whole thing. And then to see laws that were an overreach that I've never seen the likes of. I wasn't alive during World War II, but surely that could have been described as overreach. But when things are going a little bit fascist, when you say to someone...
It's a little bit fascist outside. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Springtime for Hitler in Germany. So when you ask someone to do something and then they go above and beyond what your request was, and if you said, look, just stand there and don't let anyone open the door, but then you get back there and there's a pile of dead bodies, and no one got through the door, sir. Did they try? Not really, but they look like they might have, right?
Yeah.
So
not anymore. They didn't.
Yeah, they're not doing that again. What do they do? Well, nothing. And they looked at me. I didn't like them. So
they looked at you. Good Lord.
So the amount of overreach and how quickly a perfectly facaded democracy, a perfectly working version of a democracy, facade of a democracy, turned so fascist so quick that it made my head spin. I could not believe. Did you? Like Canada, I've got to say, that blue-eyed Prime Minister they got up there didn't look like he could have done anything wrong, probably just didn't do his job well. No. Started taking money from people. Started calling them terrorists. Changed the laws to be able to lock them up. Take away their food. Even empty their fuel from their trucks. Made laws to do that. Like, what?
Yeah. What? You go, exactly. What? Squeeze me? Baking powder? What? Right? No, look, it's a thing, buddy.
So how quickly can you make it so that you're protecting yourself? Oh, very, very rapidly, actually. So remember that the police are also there to protect the government's operation.
Oh, look, and that's the thing. The government, as well as... So everything that you think is there for you, is not.
That's right.
If that is your maxim for life, then you're you're understanding how the world really works. If you understand that everything that you think is there for you is not, then you're winning. Okay, all right. So it's not happening, Mackie? No, sorry. No, it's not. That's not what it is. Oh, so what? Oh, really? Yeah, sorry. That's not for you. How? No, you can't have that either. Oh. What about? No, don't even think about it.
You're thinking bad things again. Stop it.
Yeah, that's your first mistake. But I know we're joking around, but truly, this is where we are. This is the world that we have allowed to now be created, if you want to call it that, for us. We have no, we almost have no agency anymore, and that is true. We almost have no agency. That's a really terrifying thing for me. I'll be honest with you. It terrifies me because the only thing we ever had was, agency, like a determination of what we should or shouldn't do. I mean, initially, we put these systems into place to make our life easier. And I'm talking about way back when, right? When we function as family units and then even larger, clans, tribes, then smaller villages, if you will, or even nomads, like nomadic peoples, larger and larger groupings of people. And we needed structures. And there's nothing. I'm not an anarchist, okay? I'm not an anarchist. I'm a libertarian. But I understand the need for some structures. I do. I get it, right? But I think what we've done here, I think we've just done way beyond what is required. It's just, I mean, it no longer serves us. It is no longer a thing that we control or even understand. How many of your children in the world out there, understand our political system and could explain how it all hangs together? I don't care which country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Could they? Do they? See, in school, we don't learn really about our political system. We don't really. We don't learn about things that we need in life. How do taxes work? How do I fix a car? How do I cook a meal?
No, we don't. Actually,
right?
In America, auto shop was deleted.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow, okay. Not surprised, obviously.
You don't want people doing things like servicing vehicles.
People doing things is just it's bad form. It's just bad form.
Self-determination, Mickey, is really important.
That's a real thorn on everybody's side, isn't it? Self-determination is just... nobody needs that. What do you need that for? Independent thought alarm, I thought. Didn't I press the button already? What are you doing, people?
Sir, the painter's moved your desk.
It's funny if you watch The Simpsons. Sorry.
that's most of my life is all thought with The Simpsons in mind.
I'm with you. But yeah, so it's really quite astounding. I know we always seem to end up, well, not always, but quite often we end up in this place. And so the question comes, of course, then what do we do? What do we do? And the answer to that is, well, what do you want to do, right? And it's really up to you as to how you want to address this. What do you feel is an appropriate response to this kind of thing? I can't tell you what that is. Obviously, you'll make up your own mind as to what you want to do or how you want to do it. Suffice it to say that ultimately your response will determine how you view reality. Now, I don't believe that this is really the real world. That's my opinion. This is not the real world. Okay, this is just we're sitting in a cave, right? The real world is happening elsewhere. Our real home, as it were, is not here. It is somewhere else. That's my opinion, right? That's what I think. I'm not expecting anyone else to agree with this, but that's where I am. So, but I also believe very strongly, this is a contradiction, I guess, of sorts, that we are responsible for what we do no matter where we are. Right? So we're here, and it is up to us to make this place as great a place as possible. That's our responsibility, right? And we need to ensure that the life that we lead here is worthwhile. It's a good life to have, right? So how do you reconcile the two? Well, you just do the best you can, and you try to make this a better place. And even if it isn't real, it's real enough while we're here, right? And we need to do what we can to make sure that nobody else suffers, unnecessarily. That's the right thing. Think about it this way: whatever you want to happen to you, right? That's what should happen to everybody. Like we should all have that in the front of our mind, that this collective understanding that we should all want to do well by each other. That's my opinion. Again, maybe I'm dreaming. I don't know, but I certainly think that's a good thing. I think that's what I would like to see in my life. Okay? I really would.
Yeah. It's one of those take-homes, really, isn't it? It's the take-home of you either don't want that, or you want to live like that, but then you've got to be prepared for what it would be if it wasn't like that.
Yes.
If you want, like, I don't know, not the Wild West, but if you want a place where everyone's out for themselves, that's, kind of like, how I would describe the King of the Hill theory around there being limited resources and no police, no governance, and it's just whatever you can do to survive. Eventually groups are made of marauders, and then they'll encounter another group of marauders until some are killed and maybe merge, until you have a single group that are the policing entity of whatever they want. Now, when you're governed, that whatever you want is spread personally between everybody, and we're not to conflict and still achieve what we achieve. The biblical sense is, well, that's the way that the world should operate, but if you consider it without governance, that everyone should be treated nicely with each other, that's the best outcome. We're just working hard for not the greater good, but for the societal's greater good. Society's greater good. And that, look, to me, that's all we can hope for. And if we got there, that'd be great. But there's always going to be, and I always like that tale of the Native American who was the best warrior in the clan, if it's a clan, tribe, who says that they're due more of the food because they're the better person. And that's like whence it starts. And if you don't nip it in the bud, then it goes wild, and it's always out of control. So, that's the way I think, Mackie. I do want to repeat it from show to show, not every show. Let's hope, and we don't get too dark every once in a while, right? But it's pretty rough. That's why I open the fridge, Mackie, and I just keep having these thoughts about things I'm going to miss, and trying to learn how to make it. How do you make these things?
Yes, that is actually what you just said. That's the exact right way of looking at the right approach. Let me give you a very simple example from my life that would maybe illustrate this. I really loved my mom's cooking. I really did. Right? No word of a lie. But I also knew, that I wouldn't always be able to have it. Now, I knew intellectually, I didn't know it viscerally. Right? Intellectually, I knew it, though. Now, that meant that I would have to make it for myself. So I learned to make it for myself, all the things that I thought I would like. Now, I did learn it. Of course, I still would prefer my mom to make it, but, you can't have everything. So I learned to make the things that I like. And similarly, like Dave said, if there's certain things that you like, and maybe you like pickles, find out how to pickle.
Oh, pickles.
You like mashed potatoes, the instant kind. Well, then I don't know why, but maybe
Get
you do.
some Deb. That's what it's called.
Yeah. But learn how to make mashed potatoes. I mean, I know people that didn't know how to boil eggs. I thought, surely that's a joke.
Yeah, how can you
But
not
it wasn't.
know?
No,
It's only got two things.
I know. Don't you have to twirl it?
You twirl it, that's right. Like a pizza.
And no offense to anyone, but even hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
How do you make it? What do you mean? Well, what do you mean? You just make it. Like, to me, it was incomprehensible that you would ask that question, but that's because I have a very extensive cooking background, so it's unfair of me to expect it of other people. But I mean, I'm thinking, really, hot chocolate? And other things, only simple things, right? You think everybody knows them, but the answer is no, they don't.
That's
and
true.
Less and less people know. My father wasn't really into cars, so he never fixed his own car, but he could have back in the day because it was fixable if he had the skills, and not specialized super skills, but just general, mechanical skills. I opened the bonnet of my car. Good luck trying to fix that. And I couldn't. There's too many computers. There are too many chips in the car. I can't fix it. Not really.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? I mean, old car, straightforward combustion engine, with
a carburetor.
No microchips. Carburetor. Yeah. Right.
It's got points. A carburetor. Yeah, I know. Right.
Oil filter change, oil change. All of things are. I mean, these are not hard things.
I can do
to
every one of those.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
And back in Germany in high school, we had a bicycle club, so I can take apart and put together a bicycle. Now you think that's easy? It's not that easy, but it's again, by the same token, it's also not that hard. So these skills are useful to have if one day you can't get someone else to do it. I clean my own toilets. And you say, why do you say that? Because a lot of people don't, especially people that make enough money to have other people clean their toilet. The first thing off the list, cleaning the toilet. That's the first thing.
Well, I thought you might just enjoy them not being cleaned. That's another option.
There's that. No, but I do. I clean my own stuff, right? And same with my garden. I do it myself. I don't hire anyone to do it. Because if you rely on people, look, I get a plumber in because I'm not a fool. I'm not an idiot. But ultimately, though, the smaller things we should all be capable of doing. Right? So I will teach my children to try to acquire as many useful skills as possible. Useful to them in their life. Because, again, school doesn't teach us anymore, Dave. School simply doesn't teach us these useful skills that, like once they did. Like back in the day.
We only had one generation, Mickey, that's the current ones going through school, who were planned to be just a good office worker. That was the whole reason for schooling people.
Yeah.
Said our government,
terrifying,
by the way.
If you think about it.
Yeah. But before then, they were making reasonable individuals. Before then, generationally, then you were seeing, a lot of the sciences, a lot of art and things like that. They're all kind of really broad. And then you go to the time when, just right before I was to leave, and it was free in Australia. Didn't cost anything. So the big shift, I think is it's already happened. I think it's already happened.
We have become consumers.
But the next generation, Mackie, there won't be, because it'll be AI that does things.
Yeah. We're no longer creators. Exactly right. We consume things. We'll consume anything now. And in fact, I look at some of the AI stuff. I watched the first 10 minutes of Indiana Jones, the latest movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's young Indiana Jones, completely like a CGI generated Harrison Ford, right?
Lovely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, but
No.
yeah. And,
You mean like Princess
but
Leia
then
when
I thought,
they CG'd her and it was just dreadful?
oh, it was. This one was. I mean, obviously they get better and better each time, but this one was pretty damn good. No, but I was thinking, as we discussed the other, it might have been Sunday or maybe our private discussion, I can't remember. As we were talking about movies, I mean, you could now make 1,000 more Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
Over the next 1,000 years, one each year, if you wanted to, because you've got the CGI image. You've got the image. There it is. Bit of double touch the CGI image, but you've got the CGI there, and ultimately, who owns the right? And once he's dead and his estate, maybe his children are dead and whatever, who owns the rights to his face, or to a face that is uncannily similar to his face? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, uncanny. It almost looks like, is it him? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Well, you could start to improve parts
like
of him. And as long as you make, I think it's 7 or 9 changes, and you've avoided a copyright infringement.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's not much.
Change his eye color. Give him a scar. Make his nose longer.
That's right. Fatten up his lips. There you go. Done.
There you go.
Just change his ears. You'd never notice, but it looks the same.
It's quite interesting to think about it. Really. Things that are possible today. Yeah. Makes it. What a wonderful world we live in. By the way, the latest Uncensored magazine, it's a New Zealand magazine, the latest issue 71, that is, has on its front page disclosure. It already happened, but the media didn't tell you. Well, they did tell us, but nobody cared. What they have to on the picture is our logo, the Battle of Los Angeles, 1942.
That's right.
It's our Chinese hideout logo, not Plato's Cave. Now, I wonder if it's a nod to us or not. Or not. It's a nod.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'd like it to be, so anybody that's listening from that, it's okay to use our material, but give us a little nod. If that's a nod, great, thank you, really appreciate it. If it isn't, well, next time maybe you should give us a nod if you're using our stuff, right? Or our ideas and our content. Not that it's our content, but it is stuff that we bring up and think about and put out there into the public domain, as it were. But yeah, so if it was for us, if it was us, then wonderful. That's our goodness. But
I think we just went full circle then.
I think we might have. Yeah, that's goodness. That's all good. That worked.
So, Jose Escamilla was on our show twice.
That's great.
Yeah, wonderful fellow. You can find those shows, and he was talking about the Battle of Los Angeles, and they ended up butchering it and make it a Hollywood film that I kind of liked anyway. But it was meant to tell the real story. And it never did. It just became another humans versus aliens movie.
Yes.
Nice weapons, though, I have to say. Got to say that.
Oh, no, look, it was, for what it was a cool action flick. I mean, I'm not hating on it, but it was so not what...
Yeah, that's right.
It was so not that.
And because they use the name, you're never going to get the name back.
More.
But can you believe that, Mackie? It's only 2 minutes left.
What?
It always happens. The hour just goes by so fast.
Sure does, my friend. It sure does.
Straight buzzing, says my daughter.
But ultimately, it's good. It's good. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and if we didn't run out of time, I'd be worried. I'll be honest. It would worry me a little that we maybe have nothing left to say. But there's still a lot out there that needs to be said and done, as it were. And we can all do it. And we can all say it, and we can all be part of the conversation. We can all be part of the solution. That's maybe the most important thing, being part of the solution. But not the problem. Let's try to be part of the solution. That's my 10 cents.
My 10 cents is build a community.
Yes.
Build a community, a local community with you, where you are, and and keep in contact with the people that would have normally have been anonymous or strangers, and do that, because if times get hard enough, you might all have to work together.
That's it. That's the truth. That's absolutely the truth.
Know your skill
definitely
sets.
would have to work together.
Yeah. And get those, what are those, size 10 tins or the mason jars or something, and start filling them with food. Learn about it on the internet and learn how to cope when the food scarcity occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. That's what needs to happen. Self-sufficiency will be highly prized. This has been Plato's Cave. Thank you so much for inviting us into your lives. We really appreciate it. We'll be back with our Sunday edition of Shiny Set Out, special one. Yeah. And don't touch that dial. There's more stuff coming your way. In the meantime, though, be safe.